All right, welcome to another episode of the Spone Train podcast. And today is World Hypnosis Day. I don't know if you guys knew that. So happy World Hypnosis Day. I don't think it's a coincidence that it's around the first of the year for your New Year's resolutions. I want to cut right to it because I have a very exciting guest today that I met at Date with Destiny. She had an amazing energy and we sparked up a friendship pretty quickly. And there's something very unique about her that we will get to in just a moment. She's a professional golfer, a motivational speaker, a golf coach. She's got a lot to offer and share in the realm of psychology and mindset. So we're going to get to some of that, but I want to introduce Caroline Moore from Sweden. Welcome, Caroline.
Thank you so much. It's so great to be on your show.
I'm so glad to have you. So first of all, tell me, how was your Date with Destiny event? And was that your first Tony Robbins event?
No, I went to Unleash the Power Within in March last year. So it's kind of new to say last year already, right?
I know, right?
But March 2018, and then I decided directly I'm going to go for Date with Destiny. And that was just the best decision that I could take because Date with Destiny was so transformational.
Yeah.
But I already knew a lot of the things. There were a lot of new things, of course, but it was like deeper than Unleash the Power Within.
It's intense. I forgot how intense it was. I mean, the days are so long and there's so much emotional content. It's a pretty intense event, so I'm glad you enjoyed it.
Yes, and you pour your whole self into it too, so you're like really engaged for this whole time.
And you looked like you were having a blast, so that was great to see.
Yeah.
All right, so let's go back, I guess, to wherever's relevant for you. You're a golfer, maybe you played golf in high school, college, and let's talk about your golf career. How did that develop? What was some of your strategies and tactics that got you to the level you were at?
So I was basically always, since I was a little girl, dreaming about becoming golf professional. And then working hard, as you said, like around college and everything to really accomplish this dream of getting that professional golf license. And 2010 was a really good year of mine. I performed very good at the Swedish professional tour, but I was not yet a professional.
Okay.
So you got to do a lot of things in order to get this license. So I was performing really well and had my hopes up for 2011. And yes, in I think January, like end of January 2011, I retrieved that license of like playing golf on a professional level.
So what took you from where you were to that great year in 2010? Did you have anything besides just your hard work? Was there visualization? Did you have a mindset coach or anything?
I had a lot. I had a mental coach. I had a physiology coach. I had a golf coach. And, you have sponsors. So you basically have your own like little team that is growing by your results basically and the stage that you're playing at. So I had a really good foundation. I was doing a lot of visualizations for the future, trying to paint those pictures, as alive as possible with colors, with sounds, everything. And it was so attractive and I was so ready to go on to it. And getting this license was just like, that was the start of, starting to living my dream. And I did a lot of work at the time. I was really focused only on golf. So that was one of the years when I look back to it, and 2010 was one of the most focused years I had on something, where I just put everything else aside and really dedicated myself into this, and it paid off as well.
So you got your license, and I'm guessing that you had already, in your mind, had already gotten it over and over again. So it was probably like that vision, that feeling coming to life and coming to reality. What did that feel like?
Oh, it felt amazing. Like finally starting to call yourself golf professional and starting, living from what you're doing as well, with the permission to start earning money, go on tour, start to plan your way up to Ladies European Tour. I wanted to go qualifying, and that's exactly when everything spit off a little bit.
Okay, so here's where it's going to get exciting. Let's dive into that a little bit. So what happened that you froze. Oh, there you are. What happened when you said that everything spun off?
Just a month after I got this license, I got another diagnosis, and that was a cancer diagnosis in my knee. And hearing my doctor saying that I had cancer was not only this frightening word that just made me freeze, but also that he had to take my leg off, like amputate my leg in order to survive. So that put life on a total different perspective, and everything I viewed, like everything I was so focused on, I was really asking myself, like, if any of that was ever going to exist for me. So
Wow.
everything, like my life was over in that moment.
So you go from the ultimate high, right? You're making me get emotional here. Go from the ultimate high of getting your pro card, your dream. The doctor tells you have cancer in your knee.
Yeah.
And that dream is like in your mind now, just blown up, right?
Yeah, just blown up. It was like in small pieces. And I thought I will never, ever get that together again. And in the first moment, it was really like thoughts around, it's nothing left to live for anymore.
Wow.
Because I lost everything that I was basically focused on. So this luckily, or I don't know if to say luckily, but I took the decision pretty fast that there was actually something to live for, just a few days after. And either I didn't know if I could play golf on one leg again, I didn't know if I could play with two legs with the prosthetic, or with such a thing that holds you up when you sit down. I didn't know anything, but I just knew that I have to get out there again.
So you probably sat with it for a couple of days. You were, I'm sure, very upset. And at some point you said, life is too short to live in this pity and be a victim, right?
Yeah.
So I'm going to move forward. So just a couple of days and you were snapped out of it?
It was a couple of days because my doctor said that I had 3 weeks to prepare for this surgery.
Oh.
And then I thought, okay, if I'm given 3 weeks now, like the last time with my two legs, what do I want to spend this time with? And I didn't want to spend this time like self-pitying myself, or like lying in the sofa just crying all the time. Of course I was crying, I was angry, I was frustrated throughout this whole period of time, but it was also filled with joy and emotions, like really powerful ones, where I felt engaged. And that made me really like view those 3 weeks as a preparation time where I could really set the tone for my new life to come.
Wow.
But I also realized that, yeah, it was like a realization moment in this time. And I didn't know what I was doing. I just followed like this intention of that I wanted to prepare. So this,
so what'd you do in the 3 weeks? That's what I was going to ask.
Yeah. So I view like this as one of my last chance to say goodbye to my leg that I had for 22 years at that time. And so I wanted to do everything one last time, to really be thankful for it. And I wanted to start with the things that I took granted, like carrying a glass of water or taking a long walk. And then I stepped on my bike and I took a bike ride. Then I went with my high heels. I did all those things that I normally did, but I took for granted. But then I also had to play my last golf tournament on two legs. That was a must. And there was one tournament within the three weeks that I could play.
How'd you do?
I actually don't remember.
Okay.
I don't remember. But I remember that my sister, she was like caddying for me, like carrying the bag as support for me, because she's a professional player too. And she would have played in the event, but she said, no way, I'm going to be like behind you, supporting you in this. And that was for me the most like, that was the most important and the fulfilling part about that tournament, really. Wow. To do that together. Because I was not alone in this, and I never wanted to be alone in this change either. Yeah. I wanted to have everybody that I loved like around me.
So one of the reasons I actually started talking to you at the event was because I saw you on crutches and I saw you with one leg. And I told you, but most of my audience probably doesn't know, that my grandpa lost his leg when he was in his mid-30s. And he was one of my favorite people in the world. He had a wooden leg and he would twist it upside down and set his cocktail on it. And he was a farmer, so he worked incredibly hard. And I know through his whole life he had pain, right? He had those phantom pains, and he was always uncomfortable with it. And so I asked you, did you experience that? And what you told me about your experience was kind of enlightening. So if you want to share kind of how you dealt with some of that experience going into surgery, that'd be amazing.
Yeah. So I was not actually thinking about phantom pains before, but I was thinking about one thing, and that was frightening to wake up after the surgery, looking down and realizing you have one leg.
Mm-hmm.
And since I did so much visualization in my golf, I thought, why not doing it with one leg? So I stood, within those 3 weeks, I stood in front of the mirror like 10 times per day, and in a stretching exercise, holding up my other leg and just watching myself on one leg from every angle I could possibly imagine. And then I really painted this picture in my head. This is how it's going to look, and to be prepared, because the only thing I wanted was to be calm when I woke up from that surgery.
Yeah.
And the result of this is actually that I don't have phantom pains. And I had it for like 2 days at the hospital just after, but nothing after that.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible. So yeah, I mean, as a hypnotist, that's what I do too, is I just have people rehearse things in their mind so they're ready for them, whether it's traumatic or whether it's good, like whether you're preparing for a golf tournament or a surgery like that. And if you rehearse them, especially in like a state of trance, which just amplifies the experience, yeah, you get some amazing emotional results. But you kind of just intuitively knew that, huh?
I didn't know it. I was just doing it by heart because I felt I had to prepare, you know,
Yeah.
But it makes sense when you say it, and it's so powerful. And I didn't think about this train of consequences of everything that I did. It just fell naturally in that moment. So today is the moment when I go back and really look at all the strategies that I did, and I can actually speak about them today.
Yeah, that's amazing. So you get out of you wake up from surgery, your vision became reality, and now you have to deal with it, right? So what's the strategy, or how did life go from then on?
I thought it would be fun to play in a golf tournament again. So
Of course you did. Of course you
yes.
did.
So I actually found a golf club in the hospital, and I thought I gotta swing this golf club up. So I just tried it like 5 days after the surgery, and by that swing, even though it was without, you know, a ball, it was not fast at all. It was powerful, yes, but it was not like with the same motion that I usually do it. I just knew I could play golf again. And so the first day getting out of the hospital, I just went to the driving range of my home club in Karlstad, and I just started to practice. And my sister was holding my hips from the start so I wouldn't fall, because I was on one leg and I didn't know where my balance was going. And usually in golf, you use your two legs.
A little bit. Yeah, I would think so.
Yeah.
So did you have a prosthetic or anything, or you were just literally on one leg your first day out of the hospital?
Yeah, this was like 2 weeks after the surgery. So I didn't have a prosthetic. So I just tried it and I thought, wow, it really works. And I set a goal that day to play a tournament within 2 months. So 2.5 months after the surgery.
Wow.
Yeah. And my golf coach, he was thinking like, how much morphine did she really get in the hospital? Like, she's become crazy.
Holy cow. Wow.
So the good thing was that he or anyone around me that really maybe didn't believe in my visions, they didn't let me know of their doubts. The things that they did was to support me. All of them did that. And the ones that didn't do it, I became very angry, because for me it was so clear that I could play that tournament.
Yes.
But the anger in that moment was not like something that held me back, but actually gave me a lot of energy to push through. So that was exactly what I needed also in that moment.
This is such an amazing story. I'm so glad to have you on. So did you have some, like, I mean, was there depression? Was there kind of some low moments after the surgery? Or were you just like, let's go play golf, I'm back in this?
Everything was there all the time.
Yeah.
And that's what I say, like, all the time. I was grieving, I was being sad, frustrated, and happy and anger. Like, we all maybe can relate to how close seriousness and humor is. That we can switch from 1 second to the other between them. And that's really how it was for me. I had people within the hospital telling me that after 2 months after the surgery, you're going to have a month, and then you're going to be fine for a year, and then you will have 2 other depressions, really big ones, coming up in your life. And I just thought, no way, that's not how it's supposed to be.
So that's called future pacing, right? And if you give someone an expectation that they're going to be depressed, generally they're going to be depressed. It's like telling someone you have 3 months to live. They'll die almost to the day most of the time, right?
Yeah,
Because
really.
your expectation creates your reality. So they need some lessons in psychology, I guess.
Yes, but that's a good motivation for speaking for like
Yes.
more people.
Yeah.
Know that it's very powerful what you say to one another in a certain situation. And I think somehow it's better to support and see them. Okay, sometimes you fail, sometimes you learn from your mistakes that you're doing, but you got to do them yourself. Like, I was furious when people told me how I was going to react, that I was no longer being beautiful, that I couldn't play golf anymore. There was so many things that just fired up my energy and made me want to prove them wrong. But that's why I allowed myself from the beginning to feel sad when I was being sad. And I was really, really sad.
Yeah.
Losing a leg is losing somebody you've spent 22 years of your life with, and it became like your best friend, and I was losing it. So of course I was sad too. There was moments during the day when I could just cry, and then half an hour later I could just giggle because I could hit that golf swing, you know.
That's amazing. And it's such a great lesson because their limiting beliefs and their story had nothing to do with you, right? It was all about them. It was their limiting beliefs that they were projecting on you. And most people take those in, right? We get hypnotized by other people's stories.
Yeah.
And we take those in, but you were strong enough to say, no, that's your story. Like, I have a different story. And from that, you've created a different life. And it's amazing to see that.
But I think it's important to remember that those stories are also they're telling you because they mean well.
Yes.
Like,
yep.
They really come from the heart by telling you this because they want to protect you, or they want you good. So I tried to see that too, even though I was furious, you know, in the moment, that they just want me well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's amazing. So your golf career picks back up. Talk to me about that. So you obviously have to adjust. You made adjustments. You probably got a prosthetic. You're changing your swing. You're back to visualizing. What happens with your golf career?
So first of all, my golf coach, this is pretty funny. He told me that when you play golf on one leg, your swing is actually better than when you play on two.
There's always a gem in those troubled times, right? There's always something good that comes out of it.
Yeah, really. And that made me, of course, chase more of my dreams. So after making a comeback to that tournament after 2 months, I thought, why not beat that two-leg girl of mine that I had or was before?
Yeah.
So that became my ultimate goal. But I also realized throughout this journey that golf for a lifelong time is not like my ultimate passion anymore. So my goal was to beat that two-leg girl and to play on the professional tour in Sweden and around Europe, and also on the para tour, like for handy golfers.
Sure.
Yes. So I played for 5 years, finished 2016, and I beat that girl with two legs. I did. So that was amazing.
That is incredible. So you were better than your previous self.
Yes.
Wow. And I like how that's your mark, right? Because most of us, I think the focus should be to be a better person today than you were yesterday. And most of us compare ourselves to other people. And you said, no, I just want to be better than my previous self. And that's on one leg. I mean, it's such an amazing story.
Yeah, it gives you so much strength to compare yourself to yourself, right?
Yes. Yeah. And Tony Robbins always says, progress, happiness comes from progress. And
yeah,
so you saw yourself progressing, and I'm sure that brought you back into that place of purpose and happiness. And then now you're finding, hey, maybe golf is a tool. It's something I enjoy, but there's something bigger for me. So what is that? What did that turn into?
So just like 6 months after the surgery, I felt like I got to contribute back to the enormous amount of help and support that I received, because there was not only people telling me what I couldn't do, but there was so many people standing with me and helping me, and we were helping each other. So I thought, okay, if everybody come together like this, we can contribute with so much, like to ourselves, to the world, to the bigger picture. And that led me to start speaking. So I had my first speech in November 2011, and then it started in Sweden. I had for a lot of schools, and then it grew to organizations, then bigger companies, and then around in Europe, and then to South America, and now all over the world. So
Wow.
that is pretty cool. I'm so excited about that. To speak for individuals on how they can, create better conditions to succeed. And as you say, like, compare yourself to the last version of yourself instead of other people, and finding that long-lasting motivation of what keeps you going year after year.
Yeah, so I really just started speaking last year, and I know how fulfilling that can be to share a message that resonates. Obviously, my story is not quite as emotional as yours. Mine's a little more strategic. But the emotional part is, and it's a gift, because with the emotions you access people's subconscious, and they remember the stories, they're changed by them. And when you just give someone a strategy or a tactic, it stays in their conscious mind. But you have that, I mean, I'm getting emotional on this call. You have that power where I'm going to go, something bad happens to me, and I'm going to think of you, and I'm going to think of how much you overcame, and it's going to empower me. And I'm sure with your audiences, it totally resonates, and I'm sure it hits home.
Thank you so much. Yeah, that's really what I want to give to others. And I really want to touch people, like, on the emotional level, because as you say, that's memorable, and that really, like, sticks in their system, and they get reminded of that inner power, because I am convinced that everybody of us have that enormous inner power, but we just got to tap into it in different ways, because we need different things. We are unique. So I don't think there's one way for everybody, but just if one person can take something out of my speech, or recognize themselves in the same kind of moments, even though we didn't do the same kind of transitioning parts,
right,
I believe it's a home run.
And unfortunately, or I guess, fortunately, depends how you look at it, sometimes that inner power comes out when we have something shake us to our core, right? And it's in those moments that we find that deepest strength. Like you did. I mean, I think you were a pretty powerful person before that, but I'm sure this took you to another level of understanding and, just power.
Yeah.
So, all right. So golf career turns into this amazing, impactful speaking career, and you're coaching golf as well too, right?
Yes, I do. I coach a golf team.
So I coached wrestling the last couple of years, and I absolutely loved it. So talk to me about what part of coaching you enjoy and how fulfilling that is for you.
I think it's just amazing to see people coming together, especially within the golf industry, because golf is such a game or sport where you have to be so focused on yourself in order to succeed. And in a lot of elite athlete sports, or basically in whatever you do, but never to forget that team feeling. Because I could never have done this by myself. And I believe there is nothing that is called one-man show. And to bring that into the golf girls team, of making them cooperate together, but also making results, like, alone on their own arena, on their own stage, that's what I think is so amazing. How they can be happy for each other, support each other, and just grow this together, this amazing, like, strong community. That is what I enjoy the most.
That's amazing. So I'm sure you teach them some of your psychological strategies, your visualization stuff that you used to do as well, right? And tell me some stories about how that's been impactful, or how it's worked, and how you've helped your team that way.
So it's quite interesting to bring eight individuals together. But we did, for the last championships together, when I coached, there was the common goal, and they never really had a common goal within the team.
Yeah.
And having them doing that, working with positive feedback each and every day, was something completely new, because not only to look at myself, I remember Tony Robbins saying the me song is a quite lonely song.
Yeah.
And that's really what I tried to bring into that team. And I saw them high-fiving together. And even when somebody was not doing well one day, the other ones tried to cheer them up by saying, hey, this is our goal, this is our train, our vision. And months, like 8 intense months of working with their goals, their values, what's important for them, and also the needs of each and every personality working in this team was coming together, and they knew what they once needed. One needed to be alone one day because she didn't feel well, or one needed a hug. There was so many great things coming together, and the team finished one of the best results that they have been in that tournament. That was great.
Awesome. That's awesome. I know how rewarding that is as a coach to see your team grow as individuals and really step into confidence and success. So that's very cool.
Really cool.
So where can people find you? How can they follow you?
Yeah, they can follow me on my website, which is carolinelarsson.eu. I just changed name like a couple of months ago. So I'm going to change that name to carolinemoa.eu.
Okay.
Might already be in place. I have to check this. carolinemoa.eu. And then they can follow me on Caro Spirit, which is 2R, Caro Spirit, on Instagram.
Okay.
Yes. And Caroline Larsson Enterprise on Facebook.
I don't think I follow you on Instagram yet. I'll have to do that.
Oh, you don't do that?
Maybe I do.
I have to do that.
Very cool. Well, your story is amazing, and I hope you continue to share it because it's going to be impactful for anyone that hears it. I have a couple last questions before we finish out. One is, what is your favorite personal development book?
Oh, wow. This is a tricky one.
You can give me a couple too if you don't have one.
Okay. So I love Tuesdays with Morrie.
Mm-hmm.
Have you read that one?
I've seen the movie. So same thing.
Have you seen the movie? I haven't seen the movie, but I read the book.
Okay. So and remind me, that's a story about a guy who helps
an old guy who helps a young guy, and he's teaching him lessons about life and about appreciation, thankfulness, and acting in the moment, and all of those great things. It's a book that you can basically read over and over again.
Gotcha. Okay.
And then I love Robin Sharma, The Man Who Sold His Ferrari.
I think I have that somewhere.
You have that one?
I haven't read it though. I haven't read it.
Oh, you haven't read it?
I'm in the middle of like 10 books right now, so
oh wow.
It's on my list.
Oh, that's great.
So what are a couple takeaways from that book?
From The Man Who Sold His Ferrari. Mm-hmm. So I guess that's challenging yourself to step out of your comfort zone, because that's really what the book is about. Like, he's selling everything he has to dedicate himself to that lifelong education, and then coming back with all those teachings. That's really my main takeaway from that book. Okay. So really don't get stuck in the material things.
Yes.
That is the main takeaway. What else? You caught me a little bit here. I'm trying to think about what's the last book I read.
I talked about, I recommended the book Psycho-Cybernetics right here for you.
Oh yeah, this one. I have to read that one.
I think you're going to like it. Yeah, you're going to love it.
I'm going to love that.
It'll be your new favorite. I recommend it to everybody.
Oh, thank you.
And okay, last question. What has been the most impactful personal development event that you've been to or experience?
I gotta say then Date with Destiny.
Date with Destiny, yeah.
Yeah, really. Not only because it's my recent one, but it shook me to the core in so many ways. And it's kind of to say this, like that I save it live, but I kind of understood my partner even better after the event. Like, understand him when I was so far away in Florida from Europe, rather than being together.
Yes.
You know, because I saw it from a different perspective. Some of the things that we sometimes can discuss for hours and hours, and I don't understand it, but I somehow just understood it at Date with Destiny, and that was one of the biggest moments in my life, because I'm always striving to get better in my relationship, to develop there. Yeah,
so you get to see the value structure of someone else and how that affects their behavior, and then you get to see the masculine and feminine tendencies, and from that perspective, you look at someone, you're like, this behavior that totally blew my mind, confused me. Now I'm like, oh, I understand it, and it gives you really a solid foundation to approach people.
Yeah, so good. So it smoothened like that thing so much for me. That was so good. And we already had or have an amazing relationship and just got married and everything. So we are on a high, but I never expected that I would actually get an even deeper understanding when I was so far away. That was amazing.
Not a day goes by that I don't apply some of those frameworks, some of the reframing in my life. Every single day, like Date with Destiny affects the way my brain works. And I probably don't even recognize it all the time, but just the questions I ask myself, the questions I ask other people, everything. So yeah, it's a very impactful event.
Totally. It's amazing.
So awesome. I want to thank you so much for coming on. I'm sure you and I are going to be lifelong friends. Maybe we will share a stage together somewhere.
It would be awesome.
Which would be amazing. So thank you so much. Make sure you follow Caroline if you guys can. She's got some great content. So anything else you want to share with our audience?
Just let's make 2019 the year when we keep our motivation and energy high the entire year.
Yes, it's going to be a great year. I can feel it for sure.
Yes.
All right, Caroline, thank you so much. I'm so grateful to have you on.
Thank you so much. I'm so thankful to be on your show. Thank you.
All right, we'll stay in touch. Bye.
Okay, bye.